guys, welcome back to Lisa Study Guides. You are in luck if you're studying Photograph 51 and Penelopiad, because that's what we're covering today, obviously from the title. So I'm just going to get into it. The play Photograph 51 by Anna Ziegler invites us to revisit the events surrounding the discovery of DNA's double helix structure. While the DNA double helix structure is common knowledge now, in the 1950s, many scientists were racing to claim its discovery. Ziegler's title, Photograph 51, is simply named after the X-ray photograph taken of the hydrated B form of DNA, which was crucial in the consequent events that eventually led to the identification of DNA structure. However, much controversy has surrounded exactly who deserves credit for discovery, particularly because the Nobel Prize was awarded to James Watson, Francis Crick, and Maurice Wilkins, three people who didn't actually take the Photograph 51 itself. Instead, people have argued that Rosalind Franklin should have been one to be awarded the prize, or at least share the prize, as it was her work that led to the photograph, and without it, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins may not have discovered the DNA structure on their own. Yet what makes this situation even more complicated is that Franklin's work was shared with Watson without her knowledge, in addition to the fact that Franklin died of ovarian cancer 4 years before the prize was awarded. Since the Nobel Prize does not generally make posthumous awards, Rosalind's work has never shared in the glory along with the other men. Ziegler takes this opportunity to explore Rosalind's perspective and gives the audience a chance to peer into her experiences, interactions with others, and strong mindset. The question now begs, if Rosalind's data had not been leaked, would she have gone on to discover the structure of DNA on her own? If Watson and Crick had not seen Photograph 51, would they have gone on to discover the structure of DNA on their own? Penelopiad is similar to Photograph 51 in that it's written from a woman's perspective previously never explored in literature. While in Photograph 51, Ziegler allows us to be privy to Rosalind's thoughts, a perspective unknown to media and publications because of her death, Margaret Atwood chooses to write from Penelope's perspective, a view also previously not explored in Greek literature. Penelope reminisces about her life from her deathbed in Hades, the underworld. We learn of Penelope's key life moments from childhood through to adulthood, such as the psychological damage inflicted upon her when her father attempts to drown her as a child, to her pretending to weave a shroud so that she can delay the decision to choose a suitor who undoubtedly only wants to marry her so they could take up the throne and treasure. Her narrative is occasionally interrupted by the 12 maids who were killed by Odysseus, Penelope's husband, upon his return. These maids were wrongly murdered, and their presence in Atwood's story brings attention to their plight, as not only females, but as slaves during ancient Greece. When studying the Penelopiad, I would strongly encourage you to be familiar with its historical context. Mainly, you should have a good understanding of the story of the Odyssey, the Trojan War, and the roles of the gods mentioned in the novel. I've created a playlist based on some videos surrounding these topics, and so I've linked that in the description box below, so go ahead and watch that if you want to ensure that you really understand the background for these texts. Common themes. Women's reactions to misogyny. Misogyny is widespread in both Photograph 51 and the Penelopiad, and both writers explore the ways in which females deal with such an environment. Penelope is much more graceful in her response, as she is accepting of her place as a woman, as poignantly expressed, "I keep my mouth shut," or, "If I opened it, I sang praises. I didn't contradict. I didn't ask awkward questions. I didn't dig deep." Meanwhile, Rosalind reacts with snark hostility. "I don't suppose it matters whether or not it suits me, does it?" Rosalind refuses to let her womanhood impede on her career as a scientist, to the extent that her stubbornness is self-defeating, and her being constantly on guard only causes further misunderstandings and tensions with others. You know, I think there must come a point in a life when you realize you can't begin again. That you've made the decisions you've made, and then you live with them, or you spend your whole life in regret. Misogyny from a male lens. In the Penelopiad, even Telemachus shows a lack of understanding and empathy for his own mother, and wants her to find a suitor quickly because she is responsible for the fact that his inheritance was literally gobbled up. He disobeys Penelope's wishes and resents being under the thumbs of women, who, as usual, were being over-emotional and showing no reasonableness and judgment. Like Telemachus, the men in photograph 51 have no sense of what it means to be a woman. They are frustratingly presumptuous in the female psyche, as seen when Creek boasts, "See, women expect men to fall upon them like unrestrained beasts." The viewpoints of the males in both texts highlight misogyny that is deeply rooted in society, and a demonstration of how far we can be from the truth when we formulate our own assumptions. Women's undervalued abilities. Penelope is clever, but it is only beauty and sex appeal that is valued in society, as so clearly shown by all men charmed by Helen of Troy. Penelope's intelligence, and more widely, all women's intelligence, is seen as a threat for men, as she says, "Cleverness is a quality a man likes to have in his wife, as long as she is some distance away from him." Unlike Penelope's era, where women didn't usually actively or overtly fight for their rights, the 1950s sees more agency in women. While Rosalind's intelligence secures her a job and career, she still faces a hostile, sexist environment. Her fellow male scientists dismiss her credentials. From the get-go, Rosalind is expected to assist Wilkins and is disparagingly referred to as Miss Franklin, rather than as Dr. Franklin, as she is so rightfully entitled to. Moreover, her methodical approach to her work drives the frustrated Wilkins to share her confidential research to Creek and Watson, display of males' inherent distrust and disrespect of women. Here's a tip for you. You might have noticed that the common themes I mentioned aren't just one-worded themes. Yes, I could have just lumped them all together under the umbrella term of misogyny, but I really wanted to go that extra mile. By breaking it down further, I'm able to better showcase my detailed understanding of the text, and you'll find that adopting the specificity in writing is rewarded in VCE. And here's another tip for you. At Year 12 level, particularly in reading and comparing, your assessor expects you to not just understand the text itself, but to understand the real-life implications explored. So here we're looking at human reactions and responses to the world and our experiences. So when you start comparing photograph 51 and the Penelopiad, think about the human condition. For example, on a textual level, you might be asking yourself, what factors drive Rosalind to act with such hostility towards men? Why is the way she deals with misogyny so different to that of Penelope? Now, if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, you need to start asking yourself, what do these texts say to us about people? What can we learn from these stories? What is the message that the authors are sending us? Obviously, there's so much more you can extract from these two books, so many more themes you can discuss as well, but I hope that I've been able to give you a good starting point. So if you've enjoyed this video, then let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. And as always, if you want to join my mailing list, I send out helpful information for VC students every single Monday, and I keep you updated on the latest videos and blog posts that we release as well. So to do that, the link is just in the description box below, and link to any related resources that I think will be beneficial for you will also be down there as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!